Good morning and welcome to Clay and Art Club. If you just bear with me a second, I'm just going to double check that the sound is coming through. I'm sure it is, but always good to check. Bear with me a moment. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Just double checking. Oh, I've got it on mute, that's why. Testing. Oh, I've got it on. Okay, yep, sound is working, that's good. Fantastic. Hi Sarah. Hi Sarah. I've got two Sarahs today. How are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to Clay and Art Club. So this is our weekly drawing lesson. Obviously we've been off for Christmas and New Year, but we're back to it. We're going to do, hi George, nice to meet you. Hope you're excited. If you just let me know if you want me to draw anything specific. If not, I will think of something. But normally what we do is I show you how to draw by drawing your suggestions. So I'll show you what we've got. So we've got some pencils. I've got some nice black pens, and just below, I'll show you. You can see all my fancy pens over here, which are very, very useful. So yeah. So we've got Hannah, we've got Bracken, sorry, and we've got a request for Spider-Man, which sounds very exciting, so I'm happy to do that. So I'll just zoom in a little bit and yeah, we'll get started. So just bear with me a moment while I just bring up a picture of Spider-Man, just because it's always helpful to have reference. Do you have a specific favourite Spider-Man that you're choosing, like the Miles Morales one or something else? Right, just bear with me a minute. I just need to remind myself what it looks like. Oh yeah, very cool. So what I'm doing at the moment, oh, just the normal Peter Parker. Okay, that's cool. Okay, that's fine. And what I'm doing is I'm just looking it up for things like poses, things like that, so that I can get a good pose for him. Getting a nice image if I can. The computer's being a little bit slow, but that's fine. Right, let's get started. Sorry about that. I do half ones and they look really cool. Oh, great. Okay, so Spider-Man, let's get going then. So this is probably quite a good one for drawing characters that have an interesting pose or very dynamic in their movement. So we're going to be drawing a person as well. So I'm going to start off with the head. So we kind of start with like an egg shape, but with a slightly pointier chin. Convenient thing about Spider-Man is it doesn't have any hair, so it's quite simple. And what I often do is I start with pencil, and this way you can make as many mistakes as you want, and you can just rub them out. So I'm pressing very lightly with my pencil. I've got a HB pencil, and I've also got a 5B pencil, nice and sharp. And the softer pencils are nice for shading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the shoulder, and I'm going to try and get the angle that I want for the shoulder. So I'm going to have one arm kind of forward, touching the ground, if I can. So it starts off with a fancy stick man, really. He's going to be going backwards. So his face is forward and he's leaning back. And then behind he's going to have his legs out at a funny angle. Just make sure it's in the center of the screen. Hopefully it's bright enough for you guys. And then the other leg is going to be out at an angle. And we'll have the other arm coming out like this. I'm just going to put a circle at the major joints. So he's going to have his hands on the floor like this. And what you can do is you can draw it like this, and then you can go, haha, he's stuck to a building or something. But anyway, we'll stick to this. And I think his head needs to be a little bit smaller. And we need to fill out the legs a bit. So we start off with a stick man, and then we just start bulking it out. We try and get the pose to look good. So obviously the top of the leg is thicker than the further down the leg, and then we'll start bulking up the arms a little bit. The good thing is, because we're drawing in pencil, if we draw a leg that looks a bit weird, like this one looks slightly weird, we can obviously change it. So we start off with a stick man and we just start building up. So we've got the other arm. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a cross on his face in the direction that we want to be looking. So he's going to be looking in this direction, like he's ready to pounce. I think this arm needs to be a bit over this way, actually. Just jump onto my rubber. Hey Matthew, how you doing? Nice to see you. Got a full house today. This desk isn't actually super stable, but anyway. So I've just brought this arm in a little bit, and might even raise this up a little bit so it gives more of a that'll be his hands, I think. We just want to check that the arms are roughly the same length. Maybe his legs need to come up a bit more. And we just want to check that the legs are maybe a bit shorter, I don't know. There is a proportion sheet that tells you exactly how many heads the character's arms should be. And when you're drawing superheroes, it's 8 body, 8 heads tall. Whereas when you're drawing a normal person in real life, they're actually 6. So when you're making that kind of superhero physique, especially with cartoons, they're often a bit more. So I'm going to lightly take away some of the construction lines that I've put in between, just loosening this up. It's making it easier to draw over the top of it when we start adding colour and things. So this is my basic pose, and I'm always sweeping away the bits that I've rubbed out, just so they don't interfere with the pens that I'll be using to colour it. So here we go. So that's my basic pose for my Spider-Man. So now using this X in the face, I can work out where the eyes are going to be. So I'm just going to start penciling in. It looks quite angry because I've done the eyes too high. So you want to draw the eyes a bit lower. Okay, and then I'm just going to draw on some of the rough details. So this Spider-Man has kind of blue trousers. And normally he has blue arms, if I'm not mistaken. Something like this. So this is our basic Spider-Man in pencil, which is good. So now I'm going to jump onto a nice pen, and I've got a couple of nice pens here of different thicknesses, and depending on how small your drawing is and how it kind of looks like a ninja. Yeah, well, yeah, Spider-Man's got a ninja vibe going for him. I'd agree with that. So I'm going to go with a 0.2, I think, and I can use thicker later on if I want to. And when I'm using my pen, this is like my permanent option. So I'm going to be drawing a lot slower, and I'm going to be adding in a lot more of my details. And making this head, spending a bit more time on just the shape of the head, just trying to get it look really cool. And because he doesn't have much features, because he's obviously Spider-Man, the shape is actually quite important. So we want to get the right shape. We also want to get the correct pattern for him as well, because obviously the spider pattern kind of runs across his face, showing the shape. And if it looks a bit different, then that's fine. I think we can handle that. Doing this quite gently so I don't get it wrong. And this looks kind of strange at the moment, but I think it will look a bit better when we colour it in, I think. So I'm going to start with the shoulders, make sure we've got a slight curve there, using the kind of curve to kind of shape the character. He's quite muscular. I mean, he'd need to be if he can web sling like he does. We've got his elbows coming in. obviously with Spider-Man, he's got quite tight clothes, so like the body shape is actually quite important. Whereas if you have a character with baggy clothes, you can get away with a bit more kind of flexibility. So we're going to draw the hands. So we're going to draw the main 4 fingers, and then we're going to tuck the thumb behind like that. Oh, hi Bear, how you doing? Nice to see you. Then we're going to draw the legs, and just behind the shin is obviously the calf, so we're going to have him being quite muscular. Obviously it's going to be quite smooth here because the clothes are kind of stretched over, but they're kind of, you know, Spider-Man's quite muscular as well. Not like super muscular, but kind of enough to be kind of athletic, if you know what I mean. Like he normally has flatter shoes than this in actual fact, but for this it's fine, I think. So there's our basic Spider-Man coming along nicely. Gonna give him that kind of rib cage of blue, I think. And the spider pattern on his chest kind of comes out kind of like that. Just taking my time, trying to get the pattern good. And then we've got the pattern continuing down his legs. And then we want a spider on his chest of some description, which looks cool. Want a little bit more here, I think. Okay, something like this. It's just a quick sketch as well. So you can spend more time if you want. So now that I've got most of my ink down, I'm going to just very lightly rub out some of the extra pencil lines. And I might put pencil lines back in later on, but this is just to get rid of most of the pencil lines. So we're going to start off with lighter shades of red and kind of build it up, and then do the same with blue. We're going to kind of look at the shadow as well. So we're going to be assuming that the light is coming from this direction, which means the shadow would be here. He's also on some kind of surface, so he would be casting it here. Okay, so we're going to start off with a light red, if I can find one, and we're going to build it up. So we're just going to bulk out the basic colours first. I'm using alcohol markers here, and I'm using special marker paper. Obviously, if you don't have these kind of tools, and you've got, just use what you've got. Just be aware that certain pens, if you do colour over the top of certain ink as well, it's sometimes not permanent ink, and it can smudge and spread and stuff, which can be quite annoying. So just be aware of that. Maybe do a little test before you start on your precious drawings. Like also, if you use darker colours, lighter pens on darker colours, if the ink isn't permanent, or that, you can sometimes contaminate them, especially with felt tips. If you get these muddy yellows that you've accidentally gone too close to a black, and some of the black pigments kind of seeped into the pen. Alcohol markers are a bit better, as they don't tend to do that quite as much. And if they do, you can kind of work the ink out of them, so that's quite good. So I'll do the blue in a moment, I think. So I kind of want to keep working on the red. So we're going to go to a darker red now, and this is going to be my kind of shadow red. So we're doing a bit around the face, around the neck, and definitely under the arms and around, because we want him to look like he's leaning forward. So we want that darker area to be there. Kind of want the underside of his legs. So if the light was catching the top of his leg, then the underside would be more shadowed. And what that does is that makes our model look 3D and not 2D. I say my model, our drawing. Okay, let's do the blues now. So I'm going to start off with quite a pale blue, almost too blue. It's like a sky blue or something. And then we're going to darken it. So this has already got a bit smudgy, but that's okay. So that's our starting blue, and then I kind of want to add a bit more of a bluey blue. I don't want to go full on blue, so we're going to start off with see, this is quite a dark blue, which is okay. I'm just going to leave a bit of highlight, which is the original blue, on the outside edge, just to... His pelvis is going to be the dark bit because it's in the shade. Okay, so that's already starting to look quite cool. Now let's jump onto an even darker blue. And this is where the shadows are. And because I drew my pose in pencil and made sure it was right in pencil, it means I can completely relax now about worrying about the pose of the character, where I'm completely not thinking about that, and I can focus fully on just the colour. And that's really handy because there's nothing worse than kind of drawing and colouring as you go and then realising that the leg is in the wrong place. That can be really, really frustrating later on. So I'm going to jump onto a nice light grey. And this grey isn't doing much because it's slightly green. So I'm just going to add a bit of shadow see how it kind of smudged and grabbed a bit of the red there, which is fine. It happens. Nice thing about alcohol markers is you can kind of bring it back a little bit. And shadows are slightly reflect colours, ever so slightly. So I'm going to jump into a slightly darker grey now. Yeah, I did that with one and ruined the first one I did with the eyes. It's annoying, isn't it? So adding a bit more shadow, obviously thinking where is the sun, where is the light coming from, and just kind of angling the shadows slightly away, just a little bit. It's kind of what I'm going for. Something like this. Okay, so kind of happy with where the colours are now, kind of happy with things. I'm going to use now my white pen. Now white pens are really handy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so I can show you a bit more. What I love about white pens, this one isn't too good. I'm going to use my other white pen. This pen is better in other situations. So this is just a white gel pen. And what you can do is just add little bits here and there. And what it does is it just adds a little bit of reflection and a little bit of it kind of breaks down the blocks of color into like more of a blend, and you can use it to really highlight things, which is why it's called it's a highlighting pen. Use it for highlights, which is where the light, where like say if you're in a sunny environment, the sun shining on the character would almost bleach out the color because it's so bright. And also on metallic things it would cause reflection. And it's also, if you're doing eyes, it works really well. And also you can smudge it before it dries. Works really well. So different bulges on his legs, places where his muscles underneath his clothes kind of bulging. You can add a bit of that, make him look a bit more beefy. Right, how's that looking like? Does that look like Spider-Man? Also, if you've made mistakes around the edge, sometimes when your pen's gone over the edge, like here for example, you can just whip the white pen around and actually get rid of a few little blobs. Like if you look here, I don't know if you can see, I can just grab my white pen, and even if it doesn't completely get rid of it, it actually does quite a lot to neaten it up. Now I have actually shockingly left quite a lot of pencil smudge on here by accident. I didn't really notice, which is fine. You might also want to come back with a black pen and bring things back if they're not, if the white pen has kind of removed some of it. Areas that need to be made bold again. There we go. So that's our Spider-Man, and I'll just zoom out again. So you can also imagine him clinging to a building. You know, you can really think about your poses. He could be sliding down a slope if you have it slightly at an angle. So it's just about thinking about how these things look. So that's my little Spider-Man dude. So let's just write his name. I'm going to call him Spidey. Yeah. Okay, so let me just... so we did that in half an hour. That's not too bad. So probably squeeze out another drawing, maybe two if I'm quick. So George, you've chosen Spider-Man. So I'll just see if anyone else has a suggestion for another drawing. If you want to let me know, I'm happy to draw another one. If not, I'll let you choose another one, George. Does that sound good to you? Meanwhile, while I just wait for your... yes, I can draw a bird. Do you have a specific bird in mind? What bird do you have in mind, Hannah? I'm just going over the top of some of the shadowy areas here with a dark grey, and it mixes with the blue to look darker. New Zealand parakeet. Right, okay. I don't know what one of those looks like, so I'll just have to look it up. So you have to bear with me 2 seconds. So, New Zealand parakeet. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Red-crowned parakeet, is that it? Or yellow-crowned parakeet? Very cool birds. Do you want to go for a red or a yellow-crowned parakeet? nice and green colour. They're very cool actually. I'm going to draw it down here. I don't mind. What colour is it? Okay, that's cool. So let's zoom in again. Okay, I'm trying to move my paper out. So going to start again with pencil, following the same technique. I'm just going to find a nice picture I want to oh wow. Oh, let's do that one. There's one that's very, very colourful. So what I'm going to do with this one is, because I want it to be more realistic and less cartoony, I'm going to do the black ink later and go from pencil straight to colour, which is a different technique. Slightly worried I'm going to run off the end of the paper here. I should have probably done it over here, but it doesn't matter. So this is the head. And then this is the chest. And he's on a bit of tree. And then that's his rear, and then his nice long tail is like that. So this is his folded down wing. Looks like he's got a beard at the moment, but he will hopefully not look like that when we get going. So the tips of his wings are kind of black with bits of blue in. Very beautiful coloured bird, and he has these kind of black spots on his back. Got some blue here. Got some blue and green going on in his tail. Okay, so this is our parakeet. Let me just angle up a little bit so you can see. Okay, so I'm actually going to go straight into colour because I want it to look more realistic. If you're doing something more cartoony, then I would suggest you do the black ink first. And that's because I don't want it to look overly cartoony, because it's supposed to look realistic. So I'm going to start off with the red patch on the face. Actually, it comes down onto the breast of the bird, which is like a robin. Okay, and then I want a really light green. I think this is a light green. I hope it's a light green. I'm gonna fill this in because the spots on his back are actually black. So I'm gonna do that over the top. And that green kind of creeps around his head a little bit. Kind of need a blue now. Gonna stick with a lightish blue. And there's not much blue to it, so I don't want to overdo it. I might bring it back with the white pen later. I'm trying to also put the pen on a bit like feathers would. So I'm doing them in kind of sweeps, if that makes sense. There's a few other little touches of red down here. And then we've got some slight greyish that kind of turns into almost black, but not quite black. Well, actually it is, but I'm going to do that with a black pen in a minute. There's also some grey around the eyes, and the pupils are actually dark black, which is fine. And we want the claws to be kind of blackish as well. You're going to start off with a grey. I don't want to go too black with the spots. I kind of want to blend them in a bit. So I'm going to slowly go darker. There's a little bit of shade under the beak as well. So that's my basic colour. How do I send photos? Oh, so if you've drawn yours and you want to show me, you can either create a post on Clayton Art Club to show everyone, or you can private message me your photos if you want people to if you don't want to show everyone else it. I suggest you show everyone because it builds your confidence and you get lovely feedback from everyone. So if you want to share, but if you want to share me something private, then you can send me a private message. So I'm just kind of dude, where did you learn this? You are an artist. Yes, I learnt it by practicing, by doing it for a long time. I started drawing kind of when I was young, and I just kept doing it. Practice. If you draw the things you love and keep doing it, then you can eventually draw anything. And yeah. So I'm trying to keep the sweepiness of my pen here so that I get the kind of effect of the feathers. I don't want to do too much because he is quite clean in terms of green. So you're 10, wow. So if you start now, you'll be amazing at my age because I'm 37, I think. So I'm just drawing the claws now. And you'll find as well, if you're starting out, different art styles, you'll find you're better at certain styles. Like you might find painting's really your thing, or you might find different ones. I particularly like this kind of illustration style. but yeah, just keep doing it and practicing, and you know, you will get good. So I've got quite a darkish grey, so I'm going to try an even lighter grey, and what I want to do is just start oops, wrong end. Sorry, I'm just going to go and close the door a minute because we just got an environmental guy come to look at the house. So I'm just going to close this door a minute. Sorry. There we go. Sorry. The reason I'm doing this with the grey pen is I don't want it to look too cartoony. That's my gist of it. Yeah, send me some pictures after what you've done. If you want to do it on the Clayton Art Club Facebook page to show everyone, please do, and that's open to everyone. I love it when you share your own artwork. If you're a bit shy about your artwork, because sometimes, you know, it takes a while to get confident. I think one of the biggest things about art is the more you put it out, the more confident you get, and the more you try, and the more you realise that you're better than you thought you were. This is very true. I can copy things pretty well from anything in a cartoonish style, but when I draw a different style. Yeah, you do. You put yourself into everything you draw. So, and the more you do it, the more you pick up different techniques. So, like for me, sometimes if you discover something new, or you're drawing like your favorite character and suddenly you're drawing something to do with hair, and suddenly you're like, oh, that's a new style, that's something, a new way of drawing something. You can often if you practice that, you go to town on it almost, you can like draw like 7 different eyes or something, or you can just draw eyes for a day, or just draw feet or hands. That can be really helpful as well. Hair is really hard to get right. It took me ages to get the hair. I could draw faces, I could draw robots really well, but getting faces right took me a while. And the more realistic, the harder it is to get it to look right. With cartoony, you can get away with it a little bit. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm using a super fine, sorry, that isn't even, I'm doing 003. So this pen is super duper fine. And I'm just using it because I don't want too much of a black line again, because I'm going for realistic. So I'm just using the super fine pen just to add a little bit of so I think I'm almost there with this one, but what I do want to do is I want to come back and use using an exact pen. They're very cool. Biros are very cool as well. I often did a lot of pencil and a biro. You can achieve some really cool drawings. Sometimes if you limit yourself to just one color or 2 colors or something, that can be quite a good challenge to get you used to kind of like color and shading. So what I'm doing now is I'm using the white, and then I'm almost immediately smudging it. And what that does is that breaks it up so it's not just a big patch of red. It's kind of adds a bit of difference in there, and I can go back and make things a bit neater. Or I can leave it a bit longer and let the ink dry a bit more, and then you get less of a smudge. But anyway, yeah, so this is my parakeet. I don't know what you'd call this one, but it's very colourful, very nice bird. I think there's a bit more black spots to be had, so I'm gonna add a few more. And this grey is actually a little bit red, which it shouldn't be, but it is. But that doesn't matter. It kind of adds a bit of variation to it, I think. And I'm just adding a bit of a black patch to it to break it up a little bit. There we go. I'm going to just go over this again with the green. And I kind of want an even greenier green further down. So kind of hope this would blend a bit more, but then we jump back onto a lighter green and just kind of smudge the edges a bit. There we go. I'm quite proud of that. I think it looks quite nude. I'm gonna use a bit of a darker red around the edges. Again, make it look a bit like shadow, but a bit like folds underneath the feathers, just a little bit of just a little bit to smudge it in a little bit is what I would say. And then I'm going to come back onto the original red and just kind of go over those lines where those two colours intersect. And you see how that's kind of breaking down the dark red, but kind of making it so you can't often see the transition. It makes a nice gradient between the two reds. There we go. So now I've put that red in, but you can't actually see it quite as much, which is cool. Kind of want to add a little bit of there we go. Right, so that is my that's Hannah's parakeet, which I think looks really cool. Just want to add a little bit of brown to this leaf just to make it look a bit more, or this twig. could have a bit of dark. You're very welcome, Hannah. I hope you're enjoying the pens, by the way, that you won in the competition. Hopefully they're really cool. And Bracken, did you get the parcel? Yeah, no worries. You're welcome. Yeah. Right, let's just add a little bit of white here and there just to break that up. Cool. Right, that's my bird. Not too bad, not too shabby. Not bad for half an hour's drawing. Right, I've got 2 minutes left, so I'm going to write the word parakeet, if I can spell it. I'm going to use a thicker pen. This one's too fine for such a thing. There we go. Parakeet. See, I can draw almost anything, but when you ask me to spell anything, I can't spell for toffee, so... There we go, parakeet. Your posters normally take 2 hours, and that looks epic. Yeah, well, practice and drawing very fast. I've kind of learnt to draw very fast. Like, I don't suggest you guys draw really fast to start with. Take your time. You know, you've got all the time in the world. For me, doing a live stream, I kind of want to get some drawings down for you. I want to get it a bit more finished, just so that it feels like you've watched something and it has a nice ending. So I've kind of learnt to draw very fast. But I normally follow a similar pattern, which is either pencil, black ink, colour, which is more cartoony, or pencil, colour, then a little bit of black ink, and then highlighting, obviously. And it really is up to you how you draw, depending on your style. Sometimes people go straight in with a black pen, cartoonists. If you're very confident, you can do that. If you're not, then I would stick with pencil first. It's a pretty safe bet, and it just like this, you can rub it out at the end. If you're putting colour over the top, you don't have to worry as much. And the white pen can also be useful for areas like this. So you see where I've gone over with my grey pen. And what I'm doing is just using the white pen to just neaten that up again, because you will spill over, and a white pen is actually better than a rubber because it obviously works on ink. It's a bit like Tipex, but then it can be used to add highlights to your drawing as well. So right, I am going to call it a day. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been lovely drawing with you, and it's been nice to welcome George to our live stream, and anyone else who's new. If you have any artwork you want to share with us or with the group or privately with me, then feel free to. I'd love to see your artwork, and I'll give you some feedback if you want that. If you join us next week, 10 o'clock, we'll be doing a live stream again. I'm toying with putting these on YouTube as well, just so that we can reach a wider audience. That'd be good for me, but I'm trying to work that out at the moment. But yeah. Oh, there's a question here. What's the question? I just draw with a basic writing pencil. Yeah, any pencil will do, as long as you're kind of soft with it. If you're using color over the top, then just press very lightly with your pencil. And like on this, you could go over now with another layer of pencil just to bring in a little bit of grey. That would work as well. Do you remember when you did the Christmas horse? I did that last week. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you've watched the one with the Christmas horse. The Christmas horse was... Yeah, the one, the horse with the Christmas hat, wasn't it? Anyway, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you next week. Okay. Bless you guys. Bye.